I think I'm going to try to start a new series where whenever I get a new graphics card, I'm going to try to test it out through multiple levels of processors. And I think what that does is it gives us a fair opportunity to see how relevant that graphics card might be throughout the years and different strengths of CPU. So for today's video, I'm actually going to be taking this 10-year-old RX 480. Hopefully you guys can actually see and read that there. Maybe not. The camera sometimes doesn't focus super well. And I'm going to be testing it out with, I'll always just kind of do whatever processors I have on hand because the inventory might change over time. But today, I'm going to be testing it with this monstrosity of a looking build here, the i5-4590, so a 4th gen Intel. We have back here an i5-9600K, 9th gen Intel. Over here, we have a Ryzen 5 5500. So not as old, but it was kind of a cut down version. People have a lot of complaints. We'll see how that pairs with this. And then the strongest CPU I currently own is a Ryzen 5 9600X. And like I said, what this is really going to do is just let us look at a card that is really old in this particular case and see how it pairs with other processors, because perhaps you're thinking of upgrading your CPU and you're sitting on a card that's similar to this, maybe an RX 580, or I don't even know what the relevant thing would be for this, maybe like a 1070. I don't know what Intel or Nvidia's version of this might be, but perhaps you're in a spot there where you've got a graphics card that's similar in strength to this, and you want to know if you're sitting on something like this 9600K, is it worth going up to a Ryzen 5 5500? So to do the best test that I can, I'm going to take this RX 480 and we're going to run 2 games on all of these. So we're going to try out Counter-Strike 2, which is a relatively CPU intense game. And then we're gonna try Fall Guys. And the reason I'm trying like less demanding games and not something crazier is because this is just an older card. It can't handle a lot. But also like, this is not a fast CPU. So I don't wanna like try to Black Myth Wukong or Cyberpunk or something, and it's just a disappointing experience overall. So we're gonna try all those out, kind of get an idea for the FPS, the quality, the visual quality. We are gonna run on a 1080p monitor today as well. Just a quick reminder for you guys, I do have a newsletter where I will update you of the upcoming content. I have actually enabled the comments, so when you guys get that, you can comment on the newsletter specifically of what you would like to see out of the upcoming videos and maybe like the games you would like to see. And in addition, I am hosting a PC building class for beginners, March 27th, Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Oh, and I should mention that tomorrow I will actually be releasing a behind the scenes of this video to show you how exactly I went through and paired all of these and the steps it took for me to get to actually shoot this video that you're watching right now. So be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and go test those games on this RX 480. All right, guys, so we have Counter-Strike 2 loaded up here on the i5-4590. Obviously, it's not the most optimal setup, but it is what it is. I had to do what I had to do. You can see all the stats up here. Hopefully that is clear enough for you guys to see. I think it's close enough. So I'm gonna run through, wow. If you guys watched the video that I did yesterday, I did a Ryzen 5 5500. Oh yeah, okay. Give me my good old deagle. I did a video yesterday where I tested a Ryzen 5 5500 with a 2080, a 3080, and a 9070 XT on this exact game. So here we are, low on everything performance, and we were averaging around 150 to 240 FPS. So this is mind-boggling to me that we are getting roughly the same amount of FPS. Also, there's no sound because I could not get it to work. Oh boy. Oh wow, there's a lot of lag and latency in this. It's also really hard to see. You guys might not see like the clearest on this, just because it's a 1080p monitor. Okay, it's starting to run a little smoother. It's definitely ugly, but I'm not noticing any latency. I mean, the CPU is, wow, it's sitting at 40 degrees. The GPU is sitting at 52 degrees. The CPU is definitely getting used as much as it probably can be, but we're in many places we're getting the exact same FPS. Oh, this is hard. We're getting the exact same FPS that we were getting on the Ryzen 5 5500. This is maybe not that far off. Maybe if it had more cores, it could be considered relatively close. So as far as like playability, I wouldn't say this is the best experience, and I would get frustrated trying to game on this. I would get probably frustrated trying to game on this, but given the fact that this is a 10-year-old graphics card, and I don't even know when this 4th gen, 4590 came out, I have to imagine that was 10, 12, 14 years ago, something like that. This is not bad. It is service-ish-able. You could literally, here's what's crazy. If this wasn't so insanely priced, I don't know if you guys can see the SATA SSD that I'm holding right there. If the SATA SSD wasn't so insanely priced and you could get those at a reasonable price right now, you could literally build this exact PC right here for like $120 probably. Well, I guess, you have to factor in the power supply or something. So maybe 150 bucks. $150 and you could have yourself this performance right here. Think about that for a second. Like, this is not amazing, but I am still actually gaming. Not at a great level, but I am actually gaming on a PC that you could, oh, there's the game. I'm actually gaming on a PC that you could build for $150 to $200, if not less. I feel like that's a good spot for Counter-Strike for this particular CPU. Let's go ahead and switch over to Fall Guys, see what that experience is like. All right, guys, so now we have Fall Guys loaded up here on the RX 480. I don't know if there's an FPS cap because I cannot get it to go any higher than that. Wow, this is, first of all, this looks pretty good. Like, it's running really smooth. I'm not noticing any delay. And also, wow, I'm bad. Like at the end as we started playing Counter-Strike 2 and I feel like it just started to get a little warmed up, it felt like it was running a lot smoother. Oh, geez. And this is a very playable experience. Fall Guys came out, what, like, ow. Fall Guys came out like 7, 8 years ago and it's crushing this. Oh, geez. Oh no, oh, we made it, okay. Let me through. Ugh. Up. Yeah, I mean, this is a good experience, guys. The GPU says 0%, that's obviously, oh, there's a jump there. That's obviously an error. The CPU is at 31, wow, that thermal right is keeping that thing just very cool. I mean, it obviously doesn't need that. It would have been fine on probably a stock cooler. Am I actually gonna qualify? Hey, I qualified. I mean, so I think we have 16 gigs of RAM if I remember correctly. Again, this is more about the GPU, but I'm also just kind of geeking out at the fact that this is a $150 PC or less potentially if the SATA SSD wasn't ridiculously priced. And we are somehow getting a gameable experience. So this is making me feel better about pairing this build right here and giving it away. So I don't know, maybe we will, because if people are just trying to play Fall Guys or like even Counter-Strike 2, that was playable. Go, you fools. Yeah, oh, I am way more excited than I should be about qualifying for that, but hey, this is a gameable experience on a $150 CPU or PC overall, and this RX 480 is holding its own in weight. So I imagine like where we'll see a sweet pairing is when we probably get to the 9600K. Like the RX 480 will be good enough that it will utilize that well. But like I've tested the 9600X before with it, and it still did well. But like modern games, no, not even a chance. It is unfortunate that I picked this game, and I think the FPS is locked at 60, but this is just kind of showing us that it is gameable. I feel like this is probably a waste of your time, so I'm gonna go ahead and just quit and swap over to the next PC. That way we can get a better understanding of the 9600K and if it's gonna perform better than this or about the same, and we'll find out. All right, you guys, now we have the 9600K with the RX 480. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the settings. I'm really just trying to keep everything on low, just for the fact that like, there's no point in trying to push this graphics card too far. So I'm gonna, just kind of observe the gameplay, how it feels. It definitely doesn't look great. Running into the same issues that I had with the 4590, where, oh, it does have like a little bit of lag every now and again. Ow, good shot. But I imagine just like the 4590, once we start to game a little more, get a little further along, we will probably drop a lot of that latency and lag and stuttering. I mean, even now, oh, I almost got a collateral there. We're getting what, 130 to 100, 250 FPS. So it seems like no matter what PC we are on, I go over there. It seems like no matter what PC we're on, this game just like has a hard limit. I think there is more stability on this one, but I'm not seeing like a massive jump that's making me go, oh man. So I will say this after having tested the 5500 yesterday with those other graphics cards. I don't know if it's just the graphics card or the CPU, but I definitely think that the 5500 is superior to this, which, you know, obviously it should be. I feel like this is probably a good spot to call it. Counter-Strike 2 seems like it's running okay on this. I don't know if it's the CPU limitation, if it's the graphics card, but it doesn't feel like we are getting that much more performance improvement opposed to the 4590. So let's go ahead and jump over to Fall Guys, just kind of get the visual experience, because I think 60 FPS is the cap on that, but we still want to test it out anyway. So let's go over to that. All right, guys, we are now in Fall Guys. I think it does look slightly better. Again, we can't really determine it based off of the graphics because I'm pretty sure it is limiting us to the 60 FPS. So that makes it challenging, but it does seem a little smoother, although it already seemed pretty smooth on the other one. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Let me out of here. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot to say about Fall Guys other than, you know, the RX 480 is doing great. Again, I think that this game came out 7 or 8 years ago. I forget. I haven't really played it a ton. The GPU is running at a good temp. The CPU is running at a solid temp. So Counter-Strike did seem like it was running pretty hot. I guess this is just not a very demanding game, like, at all. Oh, it's Spider-Man. So, you know, it's not surprising that it's, hey, geniuses, you have to come over here. It's not surprising that, like, it is performing at this level, because, you know, this is not a demanding game. Okay, we're gonna qualify. Cool. Good to know. Like, if you're in the market and these are the kinds of games that you're playing like this, I imagine I was gonna get Minecraft, but I didn't want to pay $30, and I don't know if there's really a market of people that watch this channel that would have liked to have seen that. I guess if you would like to, leave a comment. Let me know. But yeah, I feel like that's probably a good spot here. We waited. We got in. The game seems solid. Let's go ahead and swap over to the Ryzen 5 5500, see how that's pairing with the RX 480. All right, guys, now we have the RX 450 paired with the Ryzen 5 5500. Oh, I always miss this every time. Did I get it? Sweet. Immediately, oh, okay. It usually gives me some stutters. That's a bot, and I just got owned. It usually does give me some stutters in the beginning. This is nuts. Am I really getting... yeah, I usually get some stutters in the beginning, but am I actually getting more FPS right now? You guys, I paired this Ryzen 5 5500 with a 2080, a 3080. Okay, so I am definitely getting some stuttering. I paired it with a 2080, a 3080, and a 9070 XT yesterday, and I did not get FPS at this level. Like, only on the 3080 and the 9070 XT sometimes. I am getting some, like, latency, and I'm assuming it's just gonna go away over time as I play the game more. 170, 290, 200. I am baffled. I am getting higher FPS. I'm getting higher FPS on this than I was on the 2080. So someone did leave a comment. I haven't had a chance to reply or look at it much, but someone said something about Watch Hardware Unboxed video about like NVIDIA overhead, and perhaps like they actually like being too strong for the processor or whatever it might be could potentially cause like performance issues. Maybe that's a real thing, because I'm not really dropping below 167 to 200. This is really playable, which is wild. I don't know, but this 480 is chugging along here, and it's performing significantly better than I expected it to. Yeah, I legitimately think I am competing or getting better than the 2080 on this RX 480. And that just is absolutely blowing my mind that we could get similar performance or better on a card that is, I think the 2080 is released in 2019. So that makes that card 5 years newer. 5 years newer than what I have right here. Yeah, I feel like this is probably a good spot. We're seeing that we are getting consistent, if not perhaps better performance out of this 480 than we were a 2080. Mind-blowing, but I guess we know that now. I don't know. I'm always confused and surprised, and so we're gonna switch over to Fall Guys, and I do wanna make the comment because I am realizing like, it gets 60 FPS, and there's really not a difference that you can tell, but I think for games like that, I'm coming to the understanding it's more about can it run, and if you play those kinds of games, like could a 480 handle that? So let's swap over to Fall Guys. All right, you guys, Fall Guys loaded up here on the RX 550, RX 5500. Oof, that was a tough one there. I will say visually, this actually does look better. I don't know if the graphics got upped, but it seems like there's like more lighting, and I can tell a difference. Obviously, 60 FPS is the max, but as I mentioned, I think the graphics are significantly higher in this, which is kind of interesting because we only upgraded the CPU, but I guess this game is more CPU reliant than it is. Yeah, like there's so many more textures. The lighting looks a lot better. Wow, okay. It's very interesting. Okay, bye world. It's very interesting that like, that actually is a factor here, and the 480 may not be, I'm bad. The 480 may not be, I just got myself owned. Geez. The 480 may not be like the bottleneck in this scenario. Let me up. Are we gonna make it? Oh, we are, yeah. Cool. So somehow we qualified there. I'm actually genuinely surprised here because I guess it does make sense. This is more of a CPU intensive game, I would assume. So really, if you're playing games like Fall Guys or maybe even Minecraft, I don't know where the line would be drawn. I would be interested to see how the RX 480 handles like Fortnite or Apex Legends or something like that, or Rocket League. I should probably try Rocket League. Maybe that's what I'll do in one of these lower end cards, is try Rocket League. I would genuinely be curious, if it makes a massive difference on the CPU. And I guess because I've done this 10-year-old GPU, I did a video on that a couple of videos back where I put this in the 9600X, but I didn't test these kinds of games. So I guess it is fascinating. I'm probably not going to sit here and play any more on this because I feel like we are seeing a visual improvement. I don't know that the gameplay has changed at all, but it does let me know, again, this is where you can go back to, if your GPU breaks or you just need to get by and you spent all of your budget or something like that, throwing in an RX 480, I picked this up for 40 bucks. I think you can regularly find them for $50 to $70 is a really good deal. So let's go ahead and swap over to the 9600X and we'll evaluate that and close this thing up. All right, guys, so now we have the 9600X paired with the 480. I'll go ahead and show you guys the settings really quickly. So we're continuing with everything on low. I think you can see pretty immediately that we're getting significantly more FPS. Paired with a 480, that's really crazy. We're getting up to 500, 600 FPS. I don't remember what we were getting on the 2080. I think we were getting, you know what, I'm not gonna quote it because I'm gonna be wrong. But yeah, this is significantly higher than what we were getting on everything else so far, even the Ryzen 5 5500. So again, continuing to show us that we could probably, you could probably run a CPU like this and get away with playing. I want to spray transfer. I never really got that down whenever I very little played this game, but it would be cool to try and do it. Oh, I stink. Yeah, 220, 470, so we're getting a lot more FPS. Again, this is a CPU dominated game. Yeah, this is significantly better than it was on all of them. I mean, yeah, we are definitely getting consistently higher. I mean, we're sticking in the 200s and it's going up above that at time, or it's usually going up above that. Yeah, I feel like this is probably a good spot. This is clearly showing that this is a CPU-based game. The RX 480 is really not dragging it down that much. I imagine if we threw in a better graphics card, we would increase a lot, but this is pretty solid, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and jump over to Fall Guys. All right, guys, we've got Fall Guys loaded up now. Again, immediately notice that there is a visual quality difference. I don't actually know where I'm going or what I'm doing here. There is a visual quality difference. These numbers I don't think are accurate because the GPU keeps saying like 0%, then 3%, then like 39%. So I don't know if it's actually accurate or if maybe it just sometimes spikes up there. I guess, who knows? The FPS is obviously capped at 60, so we can't really identify that, but it does look a lot better. It is very clearly playable on this, which is pretty cool that like we've got an old RX 480 here. And we are gaming on relatively modern games and having a pretty solid experience. Oh, we're gonna qualify, yeah. So I'm not gonna play too much on Fall Guys, but clearly, you know, if you're in a bind, I would imagine that this actually runs an integrated graphics, but if you're in a bind, like a 480 on this mid-tier, or if you go to higher end system, like it will get you by for the time being. So I feel like that's a good spot to go ahead and transition into my closing thoughts and we'll finish up the video. So I think filming this has shown me, just as I've seen time and time again, that older hardware, it just has its value, you know? Like, you might not think it, but if you're not playing the most complex games, like think about it. I paid $40 for this, and you guys are now probably noticing I did break a fan blade off of it on accident while swapping it out. Whoops. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to replace that. But I paid 40 bucks for this thing, and Black Myth Wukong was like 70. Cyberpunk is like $70. Most modern games are like $40 to $70 for AAA titles. This costs less than that. So like, I wouldn't expect it to be running like the most high-end modern games, but for what it did, it was really impressive. And I just have to keep saying, like, really all it comes down to is what do you value? What are you hoping to get out of it? Because that was really playable for all of the games, other than the 4590 with it, like in the beginning. But honestly, even at a certain point, it started to stabilize, and it was a good enough experience that, like, for $130 to $150, I would absolutely play that. So yeah, hopefully this was entertaining for you guys. It brought some value to you. As I did mention, I'm actually going to be releasing tomorrow the behind the scenes of this filming. So I started this at like 7:45 in the morning, and I think it's 3:30 or close to 4 now. So there's a lot of footage that you didn't get to see in this video that I'm going to show tomorrow of exactly how I had to put this one together with the 480 and that one and that one and that one, and having to update like all the crazy things that are behind the scenes that I don't normally show. So I don't know if that video is going to do well or people will enjoy it, but maybe some of you guys will. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter so you can see what content is coming out. Consider joining the class on Friday, March 27th if you are looking to build a PC for the first time. I'll have both those things linked in the description below. Otherwise, as you guys go, consider checking out some of this other content, and I will catch you in the next video.